What's up, poker people of YouTube? Welcome back to the Voting Vlogs. We're here at TCH Houston, representing that Wolfgang poker hat. If you don't have his merch yet, check him out, wolfgangpoker.com. Here on the wait list right now for a 1-2 or 1-3 hold'em. Let's see what we get ourselves into.
Unauthorized. Somebody's chips. This person.
So welcome into the vlog. We're buying into this 1-2 for $300. We lost a few hands, so we're probably sitting about $250 effective at this point while we're waiting for our 1-3. We look down at pocket queens in the small blind, under the gun limps, button limps. We make it $15. The big blind, under the gun, and button all call. 4 players to flop, which comes 8, 6, 4, 2 hearts, and a diamond. We're going to go for value here, betting $25. We don't block hearts, and it's a pretty wet and dynamic board. Only the button calls. Turns a deuce of hearts, bringing in that flush draw, so we're just going to check here, and the button checks back. River's the king of clubs, really bad card for us, so we just check with our showdown. The button checks back and has ace-8 with the ace of hearts, so luckily we were able to dodge every out and pick up some money here. We finally get called for the 1-3, and we end up adding on $700 to be in for $1,000 total. Let's get into the majority of the session. So I'm about to include this next clip to kind of set a precedent for this session. This is the immediate first hand of this 1-3. Some guy with a drink in hand 3-bets to $65 after $15 under the gun open. The next old man rips to 380, under the gun folds, and 3-better calls off and proudly shows his king jack offsuit versus the old man's ace king offsuit. And yeah, that's Jello winking at the camera because he knows this is about to be quite a session for the two of us. We look down at pocket fives in our first hand on the button. Under the gun opens $15. The +1 now 3-bets to $45, sitting about $500 effective. We make the call and the rest of the players fold. Looking set mine here. Flop heads up comes 9, 5, deuce. 2 clubs and a diamond. We bink the set. The +1 now continues for $45. This is obviously a board we could call on, but it's wet as well with clubs, so we want to pile in more money with the flush draws as well as overpairs that he could have that continue, such as 10s or better. If he has something like ace-king offsuit, where you are risking him folding, but we're going to take the chance here to start piling in more money so we can hopefully get the rest of his stack in on the turn or river. We raised to $115. The +1 tanks for a while before finally making the fold and showing his pocket 7, so a little bit off the mark. We wanted him to have, 10s or better here, but it is what it is, and we'll take down this first pot of the 1-3 session. We look down at ace-jack offsuit and the low jack. The under the gun limps. We make it $15. The button, small blind, and big blind all call, and now the under the gun rips his $80. I elect to fold here, unfortunately. Yes, it's only $80, but a lot of times when these older gentlemen have under the gun limps and rips, it's usually something like at least ace queen, if not ace king or better. A lot of time aces or kings. So I just make the fold, and it gets to the button, who is our good friend Jello from Nextgen Poker. He ends up making the call, and the rest of the players fold. The under the gun does have the bottom of his under the gun limp jamming range, which is ace queen offsuit. Jello has pocket fives, and the pocket fives end up holding, and he wins that one. Queen jack of clubs under the gun this time. The button straddle is on. Small blind folds. Big blind limps a 6, who is the action player who had that king jack offsuit early on, and he's playing online baccarat on his phone on the side for $500 a hand. He's 800 effective. We go ahead and limp the 6. The +1 now makes it $35, sitting about 300 effective. The button folds, and then the big blind and myself call. 3 players to flop now, which comes jack, 8, 4, rainbow. There is a club, so we have backdoor clubs while having top pair. Big blind checks, I check, allowing to the +1 to continue with the majority of their range, and they do continue for $50. The big blind calls, and I elect to just call here as well. Turns the ace of clubs, giving us the flush draw as well now, and it ends up checking through. I probably could barrel this turn, but this ace is going to hit the +1 raising range a lot more, so we're going to be in a lot more of a check raising or check calling mode on this turn. River brings the king of hearts, and just terrible run out for us. We just have showdown value at this point, and luckily enough, it does check through again, so I just show my hand knowing that it checked through and we're probably most likely good, which we are. Also, now is a quick time to just plug the PokerBros online app. It's not a sponsor or in any way involved with this promotional activity, nor does PokerBros endorse it. It's just an online social gaming platform and does not provide any real money service. But if you do want to play some poker online on the social gaming platform, there's links in the description below on how to get started with instructions on how to get started. Back to the poker now. We look down at Queen Jack offsuit and the +1. We open for $15. Only the big blind calls. Heads up to flop, which comes King 9 4, 2 spades in a club. We flop a gutter ball, so we are going to be betting our range here when check two. We just go ahead and reach for chips in the big blind snap fold, so easy money to make there. In the next one, we will look down at Queen Jack suited in the cutoff. The button straddle is on. The under the gun limps a 6, the hijack limps a 6. We now pop it up to $30. The button calls, under the gun calls, and the hijack folds. So we were able to isolate a bit. 3 players to a flop now, which comes Queen 5 3 rainbow. The under the gun checks. We continue for $55, given that we did flop top pair here with backdoor spades. The button folds, and the under the gun, who is Jello, which I had a feeling he would do this, and I say it in the clip. He check raises to $160 with about 700 behind. It's a weird spot. I just had a feeling that he would check raise just because he's our good buddy and he's just trying to take advantage of us in the spot. As a thinking player, he should only have 5s and 3s here. He shouldn't really have anything else given that he limp called my raise. He would be opening a lot of his better queens like ace queen, king queen, not limp calling. So he's really limited to only having sets here. And there shouldn't be too many 2 pairs unless he just decided to get frisky limp calling with 5-3. So a lot of time it's just going to be air, but a majority of the time it should just be set. So we do fold to find a better spot against players in general, not just Jello. And yeah, he shows us 7-9 of hearts. And at the end of the video, we'll get his hand history and his thoughts on the hand. But yeah, FU next gen poker. Just got to brush those bluffs off and move on. We look down at ace jack of diamonds on the button. We're sitting $1,300 effective in this hand. Just wanting to include stack sizes to get better with that for the audience. Undergun limps sitting $200. Low jack makes it $20. He covers us and he's been very active, showing a few bluffs and just making really weird raises. We elect to make the call and the under the gun calls as well. We're just underrepresenting our hand in this spot because he's been so active. I'm afraid if I 3-bet, he's just going to 4-bet and we're just going to lose a lot of equity on our hand when we could be dominating him a lot of the times, and he's just been really frisky to say. Flop 3-handed comes ace king 9, 2 hearts in the club. We do flop top pair with a really good kicker. Undergun checks, low jack, C bets, inflow like we suspected for $35. We're just going to continue to underrepresent our hand here and make the call. And the undergun ends up tank folding. Heads up now to the turn, which comes the deuce of clubs, bringing that backdoor club draw. And the low jack now overbets 225 into a pot of 134. Like I said, he's just been really active and frisky and a bit spewy. He got called off on a bluff earlier by the drunk baccarat player on our right. So we feel like he's just trying to make moves. He has a lot of heart draws and club draws. He's not always limited to having a better ace than us. So we're going to go ahead and make the call. The only hand that should make this bet is ace king or better. So aces, kings, nines, and ace king, of course. So we like to make the call here and reevaluate a river. The river is the 6 of spades, providing an absolute brick at this point. And the low jack pretty quickly goes for a bet of $600. I don't think for too long before making the call. I think I would have reevaluated, tanked longer, and probably folded on a lot of heart completing or club completing rivers. But on this board, his only value hands that play this way, that go big on turn and then pot size on river, should really be, like I said, ace king, nines, kings, and aces, which we do block ace king and aces, of course, with our ace jack of diamonds. So we go ahead and make the call, and he ends up mucking, so we don't have to show our hand either and take down this very hefty, sizable pot after getting bluffed off by our good friend Jello. So we're more than happy at this point in the session. I wish we had more bangers of hands to show you guys, but we really only played a few PLO bomb pots where we won a few hundred in those, had these pocket sixes and ace king offsuit, which didn't really amount to much. So not much hand histories to go over, but we can show you the great action that happens here at TCH on a Tuesday night with this upcoming hand. There was a limp around to our fellow drunk patron playing baccarat. He had made it, I believe, $20 pre-flop, and he got called by the small blind, big blind, and limped under the gun. And they went 4 ways to this flop of king 3-6. The small blind donk leads for, I believe it was $25. The big blind then raises to $60, $65. Under the gun calls, and then our good friend on the right calls. The small blind ends up folding after donk leading. On this turn, the big blind now leads out again for, I believe it was $210. The under the gun rips it for $580, and our good friend here re-rips it for $606. The big blind ends up saying screw it and puts in the crying call. Our good friend has a king jack of diamonds on this king 6-3-7 board. The under the gun limp caller had the nuts. He had a 5-4, and the screw it caller in the big blind that we actually won that previous big hand off of, he has king 8 offsuit. So he's basically dead, drawing live to 3 outs for the side pot. The under the gun limp caller is basically scooping the entirety of this main no matter what. And on the river comes an 8. So yeah, big blind gets the side for a bit of money back, not too much. Looks like about $200 there that he gets rebated. But yeah, that's just some of the action you're going to see here at TCH. And this last one that we'll cover before we end the vlog, we looked down at 6-7 of clubs under the gun. We opened for $15. The button now makes it $40. Small blind calls, big blind folds, and I elect to complete, closing the action. 3 players to flop now, which comes ace, 5, 4, 2 spades, and a heart. We do flop open-ended here. The small blind checks, I check, and the button goes for $250. So this is the same guy that had donk led in that previous super crazy action hand. Yeah, this is just the crazy action you're going to see here at TCH. And even though it sucks that I'm going to have to fold this open-ended, a lot of times when you do have it, you're just going to get paid piles off here. So you just have to have it against these types of players and just be patient and wait for them. What's up, guys? Me and Jello just finished the session at TCH Houston. I was in for 1,000, out of the game for $24.95 plus $14.95. How'd you do?
I was in for 500, out for 1,300. Not bad
yeah.
at all.
Really good work trip for you. Let's get your hand history for the one that we played together where you bluffed me. So you had what, 7-9 of hearts pre?
I was under the gun. I limped.
Under the gun,
pretty standard play.
I make it 20, right? And then
so. Couple calls.
2 callers, including your 3 callers, including you.
I can make a straight flush, some quads.
Okay, so then flop is queen 5 deuce, I think, right?
Queen 5-3.
Queen 5-3 rainbow, 1 heart, 1 club, 1 spade. What was going through your mind?
Nothing. I have no interest in the hand at this point. I just check.
Pot's like 100, you check. I make it 55. I think the button or small blind folds and it gets back to you.
Yeah, and then I just know you're most likely got top pair, some like ace king, ace jack, and you're just taking a stab at it. And this is a board I'm not supposed to have a lot of check raises on. I'm gonna be pretty strong when I do. It's against my friend too. I want to get you, so I check raise to 160. There's a lot of good turn cards I can keep applying pressure on, like any 8, maybe a 4, and any heart. We pick up some equity on all of those, and so I'm going to apply the pressure here and put you to a test. And you don't really have that many good hands. If you got queens or an overpair, oh well, so be it.
So he's right. So if it doesn't come heart straight draw on turn, do you give up or do you continue to barrel, like down betting?
I probably give up. I probably give up on quite a few of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of good turn cards for you. Yeah, it's a good move. Fuck him for doing it. But yeah, we both ended up on the session, so it's fine. At the end of the day, if I was stuck, I'd definitely be more pissed. But yeah, you made it far. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
Peace!